Welcome to Road to Abundance with Mike Chabot, guys. Today I have Tara. So she's a friend of mine. She's actually managing some stuff for me. Well, she has a company that manages it, Unruly. Probably heard of it. So thanks for joining me, Tara.
100%. I'm Tara Electra. I'm an owner of Unruly Agency. And yeah, I manage a lot of talent on social media, including this beautiful man that all the girls freak out about at the agency. So it's cool to be here.
Awesome. So on the podcast, guys, we're going to talk about success, business, because obviously she's very successful. She's a woman, so she's going to inspire a lot of women. And she used to be spiritual. She's getting back into it. She's healthy. So we're going to talk about all that, what lead a woman like her to have a successful business and what's her tip, advice. And yeah, just tell me a little bit your story, where you come from, and how did you build the company? Like what led to Unruly?
100%. Yeah. So I grew up in like a middle class family. Obviously went to school and all that type of stuff. I actually got held back in second grade, which was like a heart-wrenching thing for me that, you know, always now looking back has brought me, I think, for sure to the place I am, because it made me feel like I had a setback in life, which made me feel like I always had to prove myself that I was smart enough, I was good enough. So I was that much more hungry to like prove it to everyone but like myself. So yeah, so that's kind of always made me super hungry to become more and more and more. When I was about 21, I heard The Secret, the movie. And it's funny because that's what it's so cliche. That's what a lot of people have heard that have helped them have more self-belief.
Yeah.
And yeah, I heard it when I was going through like a breakup when I was 21. And it like totally changed my mindset on the world. I was like, holy shit, why don't they teach you this stuff in school? Like, you know, it was just wild. And then I started doing a lot of self-digging and spirituality. And from like 21 to 23, I went through a very spiritual phase. But it really brought me to a place of believing like I can start my own business. So I started my own business at the time.
You pick up the most from the movie, The Success, or the book? Like, what did you apply that really made a change? And you definitely love some stuff because you went into a very deep spiritual, and now you're a little less and more balanced. So I call it like the ego spiritual, like when you become 100% and you're like, oh, I'm better than everyone and spiritual, and then you tone it down to be more like normal. That's the phase of it.
That's so true.
So yeah, tell me, like, what did you pick up? What made you like, okay, I want to be spiritual and now more balance?
Yeah. Yeah, so when I first heard about it, I practiced it because it was like, and it's in The Secret and in other teachings, it's like practice manifesting or law of attraction with small, easy things, and then like grow your belief in it. So I did little things, but one of the craziest things that ever happened, which a lot of people don't know this story, it's pretty wild. I made this little tape where I like screenshotted a bunch of things I wanted, and then it was supposed to be like playing your movie life, and then I put a song over it, and I would watch it all the time on this iPad, and I probably watched it for like maybe a month, and I tried to like make it a routine
every
and then
night,
forgot
every
about
morning?
it. In the mornings, probably.
Okay.
Yeah, just to like make me feel good and see all the things I want. So I screenshotted like the car, the house.
Like a vision board, but you made a movie.
Yeah, but more of a movie with a song to make you feel good.
Exactly.
And then forgot about it. But one of the things I screenshotted was I just searched on the internet, hot guy. And then I screenshotted this like guy that was on a cover of something. And I was like, oh, I just want a hot boyfriend. And then fast forward like a year later, met this guy out. He asked me on a date. We sat down on the first date. He's like, do you believe in law of attraction? And I was like, oh, wow. Like, I've been wanting someone that believed in law of attraction and, like, you know, your mindset and stuff. And then we started dating. Long story short, we dated for like 6 months, broke up, and just because there was things missing in the relationship. But fast forward, my stepdad bought me a new iPad, and he's like, and I was like, oh, let me give away my old one. So I like was wiping the drive, and I looked at that movie, and it was him. And I literally manifested this specific guy, and I didn't even realize it was actually him. So that's when I believed it.
About meditation. So guys, if you're not familiar with spirituality and manifestation, what Tara did, basically, it's still it's still valuable to make the movie.
Yeah.
It's still valuable to listen it morning and night because that's when your subconscious mind is more suggestible to IVs.
Yeah.
The only thing and mistake that people do that Tara did back then is, especially for love, it's one of the most complicated thing to attract because she put just the image, guys. But she forgot the emotion and the quality of the person she wanted to attract. That's why it didn't work. So she did manifest the man that she wanted, but not what like the rest of the men. She was just physical.
It's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah, they always say like if you're trying to like make that person yours, you're forgetting all the other things.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like I want someone that also, has an abundant mindset, who's a loving person, who's loyal, who has a connection. Like there's so much more. Yeah.
So same thing if you want to attract a house or stuff, you have to, what she did really good that I hear is she attached feeling, which is the song, the emotion. And if you want to attract, like now you have a beautiful house, probably you were thinking about how this house going to make you feel when you have it and stuff like that. So you link emotion to attraction. That's when you really want. And people often want to attract money, which in The Secret, that's when I was stupid, when I was young. I was like trying to do this. You know, they say that you write yourself a check. It's like, I want $1 million. But it doesn't work because you don't really want the $1 million because you're like, what you going to do with it? And then you buy stupid stuff or whatever. You don't really going to feel fulfilled with the money.
Yeah.
So that's why you can't attract it because you attract it out of ego and neediness instead of now you attract it with pure emotion, love, joy, and
So
this
true.
is how you manifest. So I let you continue from there. You transfer the stuff in the iPad and then what's the rest of the journey?
Yeah, I mean, there was just a few key moments in my life that just like really ingrained it. Like this shit is real. Like if you actually like believe something and like the main thing is believe, but then let it go.
Yeah.
Because it's not like I was like thinking of this person, like studying his face every day. Like otherwise I probably would have recognized it was him.
Yeah.
But like I was kind of like nonchalant about it. I wasn't like it had to be exactly him, but the fact that it did attract him was pretty wild. So yeah, since then it's exactly that. Like you keep learning more about spirituality and what it really means and and you get to a place where, like you said, it's more so just, I don't know, keeping an open mindset to like what it is that you actually want, but why you want it. So that way you can focus on the why.
Yeah, I think that's best. And then what did you do before Unruly? Was it successful? And then how did it become Unruly? And now we know, well, I know, maybe the others doesn't know, but it's a very successful company. You also have Behave and you have tons of other projects that it's coming soon.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so when I got into the whole spirituality stuff, I realized that I want to start my own business. Before that, I worked with, I started working for the startup, and at the startup, they were always like, getting super excited and like, about like different goals and benchmarks they hit for the company. And I just felt like soul sucked. I was like, I want to have my own company. Like I just didn't want to, I just always knew I wanted to like be my own boss.
Yeah.
So that's when I started my own company. I was like, I'm going to do it. I didn't know what it was going to be. All I knew was like, I just have to believe that I can do it. I started the LLC and just started figuring it out. I loved social media. I've always been a part of social media. I met my first influencer and started trying to figure out how to bring her brand deals, brought her a brand deal. And then from then just started growing my network. I went to Insomniac, which is like the biggest events company around the world where they do like Rolling Loud, EDC, like tons of music festivals. And I basically pitched them to let me do their first influencer campaign. So it's like hilarious now because I got paid like $1,500 and I brought them like 60 to 70 million in audiences across social media. I got them tons and tons of views, like hundreds of millions of views across social media. It's like a huge campaign.
Like years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, when social media, like influencer stuff was just the beginning. Now we know we're thousands of dollars, but we got crook back then.
Exactly. And so I brought like Tana, Mojo out, Christina Milian, so many influencers out back then. And it kind of like prove to them what I can do. And then once I did that, I started building case studies and pitching myself to all these other festivals and building experiences for talent. And my network just grew and grew and grew. So that was with my own company, Electric Mind. And then from there, I just started building ways to monetize around talent in every aspect of social media, whether it was building a brand around the talent, doing giveaways, obviously, like app downloads, any way you can monetize, I've been a part of.
That's cool. And what do you think was the few main thing or main factor or habits that you have that made you successful? Because a lot of people tried it, a lot of people are gonna try it, and I mean, there's other agency that tried to do what Unruly is doing and stuff like that. So
yeah.
What's your business mindset, business habit through this time that you think this is it, this made me like successful?
I feel like during like looking at social media, especially if like you even as an influencer and you also know business, you see a lot of trends and you're like, oh shoot, that was so easy, I could have done that, you know? And so all throughout my career of being in the social media world, I'm like, oh, I have everything. I could have done that. But I might have been like a little too after the wave. And then I'm like trying to figure it out and build it now. While there was already people that were successful doing it. So I saw that really quickly in e-commerce or like drop shipping. Like if you knew drop shipping back in the day and you put an influencer as a part of it and it was on demand, you made millions of dollars, you know? And I was like right after that wave trying to figure it out, put together a team and did some of the stuff with that. So now looking back, I feel like I was just perfect timing for Unruly Agency, where we really just saw the OnlyFans space and driving traffic to paywalls, and we were just at the perfect time. It was like me and my business partner coming together, both equal opposite strengths, and I already had all this talent that I've been building relationships with for so long. So it was just perfect timing, I feel.
Yeah, but you were ready, like you manifested it, and this time maybe you didn't hesitate, which prior maybe you were like scared to start or something. Like before, if you miss the trend, it's sometimes because you don't go, like you hold yourself and then you're like, I could have done it. Mm-hmm. But this time you just jumped in it, so you just took action.
It's weird. This time I didn't think it was going to be what it was going to be. That was like the difference between all the other times. I was like, I had this vision of what it was going to be. With Unruly, I was like, I remember Nick texting me different names, my business partner texting me different names for the company. And I was like, oh, for sure Unruly. But I also, even when I was picking it, didn't really think much about it. Like, I didn't even imagine it becoming as big as it is. So I wasn't as like making sure all the boxes were checked to make this like a huge brand. And then when I saw it scaling, I envisioned it so much bigger, and it's exactly what I want to build it into, was what I wanted to do prior with Electric Mind, but now I have way more opportunities to do it. So
that's cool. So kind of Electric Mind, it didn't fail, but you just turned it, like you closed it, and then this led to Unruly because of all the connection that you made in the past. Yeah.
So I basically took the best things about Electric Mind and then implemented it into Unruly. So with Electric Mind, we did a bunch of content, experiences, community around talent, and talent does love to feel like a part of something, because I really see with a lot of influencers, they feel like on their own ship, and they also feel like they're in competition with a lot of other people, and they're all still trying to figure out what to do next.
Yeah.
They all feel the same way. And so I was like, if you guys could just talk together or come together, like you guys are all able to support each other.
Yeah.
And it's just wild, because I see it so often. It's like the biggest brands on social media are utilizing the influencers and making billions of dollars because they get all the influencers to promote one thing. And then the influencers separate themselves on little islands and promote their own thing. And if they all come together and figure out ways to like build synergy or drive traffic to each other or promote each other and come together, like they could be the ones with like billion-dollar businesses, you know?
The women do it better, I find. Like that's the thing, as a male in the industry for 8 years.
Yeah.
Male has more ego, which I had a lot back then, and I still wanted to collab with men's, but you're scared that they take your success. And as you said, it's the opposite. Like working together is going to make you more successful, both of you.
Yeah.
And I see it a lot in women. They always do share for share. They work together. They do collab. And for guys, it's always harder. It's like clashing.
Yeah. It's interesting because yes and no, because some girls are cool. I've seen all different types. But some girls that are big, they don't want to share either. And I've seen that a lot too, because they'll just be like, no, I'm at a place now where I'm bigger than all of them, and I just want to have my own brands and my own things. But they really would be so much more successful if they had the other talent come a part of what they were doing still.
Yeah.
Because you can only be as big as yourself, you know?
Exactly. And a funny story one guy told me one day is, well, you never know who's going to be the next one. So some people that now, you know, when like Jen Settler or a girl like that, I look, they have 6 million followers. Their engagement is not good anymore. It's the engagement of girl with 600,000 of new follower TikTok and stuff. So those girls sometimes, I don't know this girl personally, I'm just giving an example, but those people, like, they're big now, but you don't know in 2 years from now, like, all the new TikTok crew, they're so big, and they were nobody a year and a half ago. So
100%.
There was a friend of mine, he had like 6 million followers on YouTube, he was big, he was the shit, and a guy wanted to collab, a smaller guy, and he just said no, and now this guy has 10 million, and him is irrelevant.
That all the time.
And, like, if only he had collab, then the other guy wants to have him part of his stuff.
Exactly.
So you never know, like, I like to collab. I like to share. Like, it's cool if you have a good vibe with the person. I don't say collab with everyone, but if you have a good vibe, like Harry, we have a cool vibe.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys that you share this vibe, you should collab for sure.
100%. It's like finding like-minded people as you. You know, they always say to do that in business. Why wouldn't you do it in the social media world?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, be around other people that are wanting the same things as you, and you'll get it too. You know.
I wanted to ask, do you have a morning routine or a routine in your day that you do? If yes, tell me about it.
So I wake up, work out. My sister journals a lot, so she's kind of inspired me to journal in the mornings.
Journal dream or journal like what?
Journal
what type
to
of
like
journal?
say how your day's gonna go.
Awesome.
Yeah, so she's the best too. So she always like remotivates me. Me and my sister live together, so she'll be like, you know, I'm journaling exactly what my day is gonna go like, and it works that day. So she'll say stuff to me like that, and I'm like, you're right, I have to get back on it. So I try to have a routine as much as I can. I used to be a lot better, but I'm happy I'm going to the gym, so that's good. A lot of times when I come home, I'll journal my day, because sometimes I've realized in this company, working with so many females, that I am more of like an empath. I never thought I was, like someone that takes on other people's emotions. So
you need to clean it.
It's very hard for me with some of the girls, because I always have to talk to them, make them feel better, and I care so much, so I take on their feelings, and it's a lot. So I have to like write and say how it feels, and it's all okay, and like my day's gonna go good. So I try to say how my day's gonna go, and even saying things like my life is so easy, everything works out for me, like those types of things are just a belief to yourself that you actually go through your day feeling good.
And you see a difference. Like, just so people know, that's one major thing. When you do it at the beginning, I remember you said, oh, you do small things that actually prove to yourself that it's working. Like manifesting a parking, manifesting money, manifesting this and that. And then you gain confidence and you're like, wow, I can manifest whatever I want. And then life is going to test you and stop manifesting for you. But you just have to stay consistent with it. But when you journal, you actually see it happen because you create that stuff. Same thing with meditation. We were talking about it before, and you say that you don't meditate as much anymore because sometimes you get caught up in work and stuff. But you did see a major change when you were doing it.
100%. Yeah, like even my stress levels go down, especially when you're working and you have so many things going on. You get stressed more easily. So when you meditate more, you're more calm with your mind. You allow yourself the mental capacity to like have things happen and not let it affect you so much because you're more like clear.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, that's actually not that big of a deal, you know? Rather than if you have so much going on in your mind because you didn't meditate, everything feels like a big deal.
Exactly. And you can do it. I remember like I was talking with someone very, very like spiritual. I have a shaman and stuff. And
that's cool.
Healer, and they were like, oh, might just do 10, 15 minutes through the day. Like once, if you feel overwhelmed and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And also, have you always trained? Like now you're LT, you know, you do spiritual stuff. Like this all helped to have this lifestyle and successful business. Were you always LT or?
Yeah, always. If anything, I worked out more before I had so much going on with our company. But I feel like that was like my prepping stage almost. Like I was going on to Runyon hike every single day. I went every day. And I looked at all the houses around Runyon and just imagined myself living there. And there's this house next door to my house that I would always just remember. And now I have a house there.
Yeah.
So those were all the stages of like going to Runyon, imagining my life, clearing my space, going in the right direction. But you know, all those times that were leading up to it, it's hard not to have, like, not believe in yourself sometimes when you keep failing. So I definitely failed a shitload. And I have a lot of, like, you know, just parts of my journal where I'm like, am I ever going to be successful? Like, doubting myself. So, like, it's totally normal to have those things happen. Because I think a lot of times people feel like, you know, if they hear that you have to believe in yourself so much to have the things you want, then they start to worry that they're not going to have the things they want because they're not believing in themselves enough. But really, it's just about not giving up and constantly working towards it.
When you want, you're in the neediness frequency, which is way lower than gratitude and stuff. So a cool thing that you were doing that you probably know, but when you hike or you do Runyon, you're meditating because it's like a meditation that you're doing. So you're actually elevating your frequency, and then you see that house that you manifested and all that stuff. So it's cool to see that you did all that even after failure to manifest the life that you wanted, which people don't realize, but we all had failure. Like, what was one of the biggest failure that you thought at the time was a failure and that you're like grateful for it now?
There's so many.
Tell us a few.
There's so many. So there's just a lot of times I was like, I've always, obviously as a female, I've gotten into business with mostly males. And so I've always been the person that's a super giver. Like I give all my contacts, give all my resources, constantly bring opportunities. And so sometimes I've gotten like used in the past from different male figures to be like, okay, thank you, it's mine now, and like build their own things. And so that was a big learning lesson for me.
That's that LA vibe a lot. It happened somewhere else, but I travel the world and I'm from Canada, and just LA is a rough city.
It is.
Yeah.
It's wild.
It's wild, guys. Yeah.
Yeah, so just learning to like invest into myself is like a good thing that I learned, and like putting myself first and making sure like I speak up when I notice something that I don't feel like is right. That's something I've definitely learned, because those things would come up like, oh, this doesn't feel right. They're just taking that person or taking that
you didn't listen
business.
to your gut feeling.
Exactly.
Which now you're more in tune. Yeah. Now you listen to it.
So now I mention like little things, no matter how small they are, just to address them and then move forward.
That's good.
So that's good.
That's how you should do it.
Yeah.
Let me check. So if you would have an advice for people at home, or like any woman that's listening that want to be successful, because as you said, it's also hard for women. I know successful women, and you get hit on. Guys want to fuck you. Like, it's even harder, I guess.
I think you just need to look at it differently. Yeah, because I hear that with female like entrepreneurs. They're always like,
you should use it.
Yeah, they always say like, it's so hard to be a female in business. I've never went into it thinking that ever. Like, I just was in a very male dominant world, so I definitely have to like prove that I'm smart and that you need to respect me, and like, but I feel like what's cool about it is like, as a female, you can use it to your advantage, because people actually have their guard down with you initially, because they're just like, oh, this is a girl.
She's hot. Oh.
Yeah, like, is she even? Oh, that's great that she's trying to do business. Like, you know. So, but it's fine, because the moment I'm in the door and I start speaking about the things they know, they're always like, oh wow, you know.
They underestimate you.
So I'm able to get in the room, make a lot of connections, and I feel like if you use being a female to your advantage, it's also a great thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Feminine energy is always good.
Yeah.
It's a good mix. I mean, you have a good combo with male and female at the end of the company. It's always good. What's your favorite quote or mantra that you live by, like, that you would, if you think about one right now?
I have a few like reminders on my phone that go off every day. I have to go get my phone.
Okay, grab your phone.
Okay.
So that's stuff that pops every day to remind you. That's very interesting. I like it.
Yeah, I put it on my calendar.
What's on it.
So money flows easily and effortlessly to me. I have multiple streams of revenue. I am happy, relaxed, and financially secure, because that's like my goals. I just want to feel like relaxed, financially secure, able to work on anything I want to work on, not feel like I have to work, but I want to work. I'll never stop working because I love it and it's fulfilling, but I don't want to feel like I need to.
Yeah, exactly.
So those types of things I like put as reminders.
That's good. So what's nice is that you link emotion and you're precise. You don't want only to be financially abundant. You want it to be easy. You want it to flow. You want it to be nice. So that's really cool. Like, it's the best advice you can give to people.
Yeah.
And it's like, we call it incantation, I think, in English. That's what it is. It's like you remind yourself every day. So you read it out loud.
Yeah. 100%, yeah. And then I will go off in between my day if I'm like working on something, and then I'll remind myself.
So you're still spiritual.
Yeah.
Like, all that is spirituality.
Yeah.
We're talking, guys, before the podcast. She's like, I'm not that spiritual anymore. But this is all very, very spiritual. Like,
yeah, it's true.
You're not crazy spiritual, like, or ego spiritual. You're just applying now. And you probably, even when you go in nature and stuff, you probably reconnect, and then
100%.
you manifest and you meditate. Yeah, that's good. And what would be your best time management advice for people that want to get into business? Like, some people think that they need to work hard. That's what we hear all the time, work hard, 10x, this and that. But actually, when you combine it with manifestation, it's supposed to flow easily. You're supposed to attract everything. So what would be your time management strategy and not to waste your time?
Yeah. It's changed over like the last year for sure. So
tell me the change from where to what.
Well, I used to, like, since I'm in like the social media space and entertainment space, it's so fast paced. So there's so many like new people coming up and new people to meet and like new businesses happening. And so a lot of that always felt like I needed to go out and network constantly. And then over COVID, I realized I'm like, oh shoot, it's so relieving. I could just take all the connections I have and just focus on building them now. Yeah. And so now I just look at my, like, if I want to go out, it does make me not as motivated the next day. So I don't like that. I'm like, I'm picking and choosing when I'm going to do things more strategically, because I know how it could affect my day the next day. So my management is more so like, if something is important to me that is coming up, I'm not going to like go do things that I know are going to make me not feel as motivated or fatigued the next day.
And we were talking about the fear of missing out, and we both used to party when we were young. And then people are like, you don't drink anymore, you don't do this. I'm like, no, because I hate to being over. It's not the party that I don't like. It's the 2 days that I waste after. And they're like, you're so healthy. I'm like, I don't even do for the health. It's just, I feel like you. I'm like, I hate to waste my next day.
100%.
And be like, I could be so productive, but my brain is in a fog. And also, a lot of people get caught up into, I have to say yes because I need to make contact or this or that. But at the end of the day, you're supposed to manifest them in your life. And as you said, you work on the one you have, and you don't need to go everywhere and be everywhere.
100%. And I love that you just said that, because I was starting to feel like no one is understanding me.
Nah,
because
I feel you.
I stopped drinking for like a month and a half just recently. And everywhere I went, everyone was like,
how do you feel?
Great.
Amazing.
And everyone was like, why are you doing it? I don't get it. Like, because they thought I was only going to do a month, and I was trying to explain. I'm like, it makes me not feel good the next day. Yeah. Like, I feel way more on top of my shit, and I'm like way more motivated. I'm doing the things I want, and I don't feel like I'm wasting my day. Yeah. So it's exactly what you just said.
Another feeling, it's weird because people feel bad about themselves. It's like, why don't you eat cake? Why don't you drink alcohol? I swear, alcohol, I didn't drink. I don't drink for years. I drink like, let's say at Unruly party, I did drink because, but I plan it. Okay, this day I have nothing. The next day I'm going to party.
Exactly, for something special.
Yeah, I choose the event.
Exactly.
So let's say I had my birthday friend in Miami, then I got wasted and everything. I don't judge people, but if you drink all the time, you like damage your body, and then you don't feel on point. And then people, they always try to make you feel guilty, and it took a lot of, I don't care about what people think, because they're going to be, just a drink, take a shot. It's like they want to force you, like, everybody gets shit-faced. No, like, respect myself. Like,
exactly.
And
that's
at one point, I remember I say, oh, no, I used to be an alcoholic. Oh, shit, okay. And then they don't want to give you anymore. Just so when people were forcing it back then, I was like, I used to be an alcoholic. Oh, it's good. Then they don't want to force it anymore.
People are, like, almost benign to the idea that we're doing it for ourselves to always just be a better us. It's weird because people are only used to hearing, oh, I don't want to drink, as if it's like, oh, you're not being fun, or like maybe you were an alcoholic, or you have a problem with drinking, or like you maybe act like a bad version of yourself when you're drinking, and it's like none of that. It's just so like, bad. I'm not being my best me the next day, and I have a lot of things I want to do in my life, and I don't want to waste time. Yeah. And in the future, maybe I'll drink when I'm retired on a yacht one day.
But the thing is, we both done it. We know what it lead to, and
exactly,
we just feel way much better. Like I don't meet that many people that do it, and when people actually start doing it, they're like, "Wow, life is just so good. You're high on life."
Yeah.
And I was telling to a friend yesterday, it's like alcohol and drugs are 350 frequency. Most of people vibrate around 200. People that is going to be high on life, they vibrate 400 and higher. So for us, drinking and partying actually lower our frequency. That's why next day we feel like shit. People that are partying all the time are lower frequency. They get a high from the alcohol and then they go back, so they don't feel like they.
That makes so much more sense. Holy shit, you just blew my mind, because I swear before I got super spiritual, I never noticed it. And then once I got spiritual, I was like, why is it making me feel way more down than usual?
Because it lower your energy. Now you vibrate high. So the thing is, the next day for us, if we're vibrating at 250, which is lower than the alcohol or whatever, we're like, oh, I'm used to 400, 500, whatever.
Yeah,
and then
that's true.
People that are 200, they just went from the alcohol to normal, and they're like, no, it's a normal day. But for us, it's like you feel a major difference.
True.
Yeah.
Wow.
You don't feel it. It's like there's a book, you probably have seen that in multiple of other books. It's like the scale of frequency, gratitude, love, and stuff. And Power versus Force is the guy that invented it.
Oh,
and he talks about it, like that alcohol and all the frequency.
Oh, I need to listen to that, because I didn't.
You love it.
I swear my sister's probably like thinking right now, she's in the other room, like, oh my God, that makes so much sense, because we both were like, why now does it make us feel like a way lower vibration, or more like just not our best version?
Yeah.
Even sometimes when I'll be out and then the moment I drink, I feel like a lower vibration, where it used to be like carefree and like fun. I'm like, that's not who I am anymore. It's so weird.
Yeah, it's I read so much book, and I read that specific book.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was probably the hardest book in my life that I read, because the way that the author phrased everything in English, not my first language, and he phrased everything to be perfectly correct for the scale of frequency, and I'm like, fuck, this is so much word to mean nothing. Like a whole page to mean nothing. And I was like, I read a lot of books, and I was like, this is really hard. So, but my question about book, like, what's your favorite book that you recommend people, that you would say, or you can give two if you have two.
Yeah. What was it? Sorry, now I have to look. But I think it's Millionaire Mindset is number one. And then
what's the teaching in the book that you like? Like, what's
just teaching you that, like, a lot of the roots to, like, why you're not having money in your life, or attracting, like, you know, abundance, is because of our mindset of things that have happened when we were younger. So, like, it just
subconscious mind still affect you.
Yeah, so it just talks about, like, money is easy. There is so much money in the world, you know? The people that are rich.
Society teaches us that it's not easy. When you say 100,000 or 200, but not necessarily in LA because it's a rich city, but everywhere else, they're like, oh, it's a lot of money. No, it's not. Everybody can make $1 million. Once you think, because you yourself, you think you're worth that money, that's why you make it.
Exactly. And if you start looking at the people that are successful and are making so much money, and stop having a lack feeling or judgment towards them, like, start, like, being like, fuck yeah, that's it's awesome nice. They're doing that. Like, I can be that. Like, changing the way you look at other people that are successful, or money that's happening, and trying to just rewire where those things came from, is a lot about that book. And my mom has read it, and her whole financial state has changed.
That's
and
cool.
so I it didn't happen as quickly for me, but I just constantly listen to it over and over again on an audiobook. So it's amazing. And then my next one, but I haven't read it in so long, but it's so good, is The Voice of Knowledge.
Oh, I didn't read neither of those books.
Yeah,
I'll have to buy it.
The Voice of Knowledge is basically about how, obviously, since we were a little kid, we grew up hearing, this is what you do to be, you know, a good boy, and this is what you do to be a bad boy. This is what's pretty, this is what's ugly. And you're constantly wired from a little
Being
kid,
judged, yeah.
like learning what's right and wrong constantly. And so everyone's playing a different movie over their screen. Like I'm looking at you, and based off what you're doing is coming from my past beliefs.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at you, maybe judging something because of something I learned when I was younger. But
That's
everyone
cool.
has a different movie over their life. So
I have a YouTube
understanding
video on that.
Really?
It's one of the agreement of the 4 agreements. It's
the
never
same
take,
author.
Yeah. Okay. Never take anything personally.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own movie, and he talks about you going to theater and you're yourself in the movie for the same dinner, then you're your mom and your dad, and you're like, this is not how I see this. It's not how I see my dad. Why my sister is not the same? And you, for the same exact room and things happening, we both see 2 very different stuff based on how our subconscious mind see it.
Yeah, so cool.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Let me check what was the last question. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, when you feel unfocused or overwhelmed and stuff, like what do you do? What's your go-to?
Unfocused. When I'm unfocused or overwhelmed, my go-to is a lot of times just going on a walk. I love walking.
So like it's like a meditation for you.
Just being outdoors is my favorite. It just changes my mood, and just breathing in fresh air. And I think it releases endorphins and just makes you in a better place. So going on a walk, a lot of times like journaling. I'm a really, like, I think a lot. Like I definitely am an overthinker and an overanalyzer.
So you need to go back to meditation just to quiet that voice, ego voice.
Yeah, so that's what I do to put myself in a better place. And what was the next question? It was if I'm
like, unfocused or like overwhelmed. Like
that's definitely it.
That's what you do. That's cool. But like, I really liked our chat. Like, there's a lot of things that you do that you probably didn't realize because we had a quick chat before it, and you're like, I'm not that spiritual anymore.
Yeah,
not
it makes
that
me
healthy.
feel better after talking to you. I'm like, yeah,
there's a lot of things that you don't even realize that your subconscious mind is doing, and that's what I want people to understand is that you did a lot of things through the years that led up to the person that you are, and people often see, oh, this business, like, yes, you said it's the right timing, but I don't think it's about timing it because I hear your story, and it's like everything that you did led up to the woman that you are.
Yeah.
And you just manifested everything, and you still do it even without noticing it. That's why it's funny because you've been building those habits.
So it becomes normal.
Yeah, you were like, oh, I don't even spiritual anymore, but I don't really drink. I go on walks. I meditate. I journal. I do this. It's like everything. Like,
and I have like I have 2 phones. My work phone has my whole like vision board on it.
Yeah.
So just
my
constantly
computer screen
seeing
has it. You have the incantation phrases in this. So you do a lot of things that are actually spiritual.
It's because I'm not meditating as much as I would like.
Yeah, that's how you say I'm not. But but you meditate at your own way. You learned it. I know
that's what just proves what you're saying is that people could be hard on themselves when they know they should be spiritual because they're like, oh, I should be meditating. I should be this. So then we automatically label that we're not it.
Exactly.
But it's like, we're doing it in different ways. So that makes me feel good.
Eckhart Tolle always say that now he's so, you know who is Eckhart?
Yeah.
So, guys, he's an author, The Power of Now, like other few books, and you heard that I really like. And now he's like, oh, I just could walk to the grocery. I'm meditating while I walk because he's been doing it for so long.
Yeah.
So actually, there's a few things that you do without even noticing it that
100%.
you're actually meditating through the day.
Yeah.
It's not because you don't sit like this to meditate that you're not doing it.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, that was cool. Thanks for coming. Is there anything you want to share?
We need to mention that this is isn't a beer after we're talking about not drinking.
It's water.
It's
water. That liquid. I thought it was a beer when you gave it to me. But yeah, is there anything you want to add or share like that you think about?
Just basically to, in times of my life now, I look back and I think about all the times I doubted myself. And I just sit and I'm like, wow, even when I was doubting myself at those times when I had my low points, or even when I failed and didn't know if I could do it again, or no matter what age you are, it's all about just getting up again and not giving up. And it sounds so cliche, but now looking back, I'm like, you have those highs where you believe in yourself and you're in a good place. And those are the times you start manifesting and looking at your vision board and creating what you want. But you're going to have those low times, and then that's okay. Yeah. And so now looking back, I just want to tell, people to just
Don't
constantly
quit.
give up, or constantly not to give up.
And I always say like it's like a video game. So basically you have level for your character to which you're the character to level, but the life is going to test you to see if you're really ready and if you really want it. So they're going to throw stuff at you that things at the time that you were failing is breaking you. And you're like, I wish I would be successful in this. But you were this close. You know the picture that the guy pike and there's a diamond right next and then he stopped and then the guy next. Like, the thing is, life is going to test you to see if you really want it. And through the year, what you say is basically just keep going, because life is going to throw a lot of stuff at you.
Yeah.
And same thing for relationships. Sometimes somebody going to like leave you or whatever, just it wasn't meant to be. And it's so hard, and people have such a hard time and they feel miserable and they're like, oh, I love this person. No, it's like life is taking this away to give you something much better
100%.
That you manifest. But until you beat that bus, which is to drop that person and or whatever business, like quit one business or whatever, you're never going to have the reward, because life wants to know if you're ready.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's cool.
Guys, you can check Unruly. If you want to be part of the agency, just DM me. I'll get you in contact with Tara.
100%.
And you have any businesses that you want to put, or you don't want to talk about it yet, the stuff coming?
Just Unruly Agency. My name's Tara Electra. I'm so proud of you. You're so amazing. You're doing so great. And I hope to continue to be a part of your journey.
Thank you for coming.
Bye.